Some nights feel heavier than others, like the air itself knows something you don't. For Mark, a routine food delivery became the kind of night people whisper about in online threads, trying to decide if it was real or something else entirely. Mark was just wrapping up his shift. He'd been driving for 7 hours straight, running deliveries through quiet suburban neighborhoods. It was past midnight, and the app pinged with one last order: delivery to 1125 Hollow Creek Road. The payout was unusually high for such a short distance. He hesitated for a moment, then accepted. Money was tight. He didn't have the luxury of saying no. The GPS glitched as soon as he turned off the main road. The glowing blue line on his phone started looping, recalculating over and over. The voice assistant kept repeating, turn right, even though he was already driving straight on an empty, unpaved road. The street signs disappeared. The asphalt turned to dirt. It didn't feel like part of town anymore. He tried calling the customer for directions. A voice picked up immediately, a woman, but her tone was off. It sounded like she was whispering from inside a tunnel. Just keep going, you'll see the house. The call ended with a burst of static. Mark stared at his phone. No signal bars. The app timer kept ticking. He felt like something was watching from the trees on both sides. At the end of the dirt road stood an old 2-story house. No lights. No cars. Just a flickering porch bulb that buzzed weakly in the wind. He grabbed the paper bag of food, checked the receipt again. Same address. He walked up the porch, every step groaning under his shoes. When he knocked, the sound echoed unnaturally long, like the walls were hollow. The door opened just an inch. A woman's face appeared in the gap. Her skin looked pale, stretched thin over her bones. You're late, she said softly. Mark tried to explain the delay, but she just nodded, her eyes never leaving his. He's waiting upstairs, she whispered. Then she stepped back, leaving the door open. The smell that drifted out was metallic, like rust and old meat. Mark called out, hello? Your food's here, but no one answered. He didn't want to go inside, but something, maybe politeness, maybe stupidity, pushed him forward. The staircase creaked under his weight. At the top of the stairs, a dim light came from a half-open door. The air was colder up there, sharp against his skin. He heard faint breathing. Slow. Steady. Not his. He pushed the door open with the tip of his shoe. Inside was a small bedroom, empty except for a single chair. On it sat a man, motionless, head tilted down, hands resting on his knees. Hey, sir. Mark asked quietly. No response. The man's clothes were soaked, darkened with something that wasn't water. The food bag slipped from Mark's hand. That's when the man's head snapped up, and Mark realized his eyes weren't there. Mark stumbled backward, his heart pounding. He turned to run down the stairs, but froze. Someone was standing at the bottom, the same woman from before. Except now her mouth was open too wide, stretching almost to her jawline. She didn't move, just stared. The air buzzed again, like a TV with no signal. The man in the chair started whispering, words that didn't sound like English. Desperate, Mark looked down at the food bag. It had split open. Inside weren't burgers or fries, but small, wrapped packages. Something wet leaked through the paper. His hands trembled as he peeled one open. Inside was a piece of flesh, raw and gray. His stomach twisted. The whispering grew louder. He turned. The room was empty now. Mark bolted for the door. He ran outside, gasping, dropping his phone in the dirt. The car's headlights flickered like they were struggling to stay alive. He jumped in, hit the gas, but the road was gone. No signs, no turns, just trees stretching endlessly in every direction. He drove straight for 10 minutes. Then 20. Then the house appeared in front of him again. His phone buzzed suddenly. The screen glowed, even though it had fallen earlier. A message popped up on the delivery app. Delivery completed. Thank you for your service. His earnings showed $666.66. Then the screen went black. For a second, the reflection on the dark screen showed someone sitting in the passenger seat, but there was no one there when he looked up. Mark slammed the brakes and stumbled out. The woods were silent now. Not even the crickets dared to make a sound. He ran back toward the house, screaming for help, but the door was gone. Only a blank wall stood where it had been. He pounded his fists against it, and felt something pound back from the other side. Weeks later, local police found his abandoned car. Inside was his phone, still recording. The audio was just heavy breathing, mixed with faint whispers. Then, At the very end, Mark's voice came through, weak, trembling. I delivered the order. Now they're delivering me. Every few months, someone else reports getting an order request from the same address, 1125 Hollow Creek Road. High payout. No customer photo. No history. Some accept it and claim the road doesn't exist on maps. Others never make it back. The app still lists the location as active. And if you ever drive deliveries at night, listen closely when your phone pings, because you might be next on the list. A month later, a local delivery driver named Ethan took the same order by accident. His coworkers later said he laughed it off, thinking the story was just an internet myth. When police searched for him after he went missing, they checked his car's dashcam. The footage showed him driving calmly, singing along to the radio, until the GPS voice started repeating, "Turn right, turn right." His smile faded. He looked confused. Then he stared directly into the dashcam and whispered, "Who are you?" The video ended mid-sentence. The timestamp frozen at 3:33 a.m. Detectives reviewed older missing driver cases and found 7 incidents tied to the same phantom address, all between 3 o'clock and 3:33 a.m. Every report mentioned a flickering porch light, a woman's voice, or static-filled calls. But the address itself never appeared in any county record. It was like Hollow Creek Road existed only for those who needed the money badly enough to ignore their instincts. Only one person ever came back. A former driver named Luis, who disappeared for 3 days before stumbling into a gas station barefoot and bleeding. He didn't remember much, just that something rode with him on the way out. When the paramedics asked what he meant, he said, "It's not a place, it's an order. Once you take it, you're part of it." Then he started screaming at his own reflection in the ambulance window, begging them to cancel the order. He died of a heart attack an hour later. Last week, the delivery app quietly removed 1125 Hollow Creek Road from the system. But drivers still get pings from a pending delivery, with no pickup location, just the message, "Night delivery, priority customer." When they ignore it, their app crashes. When they accept it, their GPS starts routing, and the voice says, "Turn right." Sometimes, drivers on night shifts claim to see a lone man standing at gas stations, holding a paper bag, drenched from the rain, eyes wide open but empty. They say he looks exactly like Mark. Months after the Hollow Creek disappearances, an anonymous flash drive was mailed to the county sheriff's office, postmarked from nowhere. No return address. Inside were 21 video files, all labeled with delivery times. The first few showed normal dashcam footage from different drivers. But in the later ones, the camera seemed to record more than the car. Faces flickered in reflections. A woman's whisper could be heard over the radio static, saying things like, "He's still hungry," and "They always come back." One detective, out of morbid curiosity, watched all the clips overnight. The next morning, his car was found idling in the station parking lot, doors locked from the inside, radio blasting white noise. He was gone. The delivery app eventually shut down, replaced by a new company under a different name. Fresh branding. New logo. But drivers noticed something strange. Every once in a while, the system glitched, showing a delivery pinned just off any visible map, marked only as pending. Those who clicked it reported the same phrase echoing through their phones. Turn right. Late-night highway cameras sometimes capture a single car driving into roads that don't exist, headlights vanishing into the dark. No return. No trace. And somewhere out there, in that endless black, Mark is still driving, the bag still beside him on the passenger seat, decayed and dripping.